if I'm high motivated social, which I am, there's certain activities that I'll need. So there's this, about a month ago, I was in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and giving some training, and this will cycle a little later into what I was testing. I was iterating I was doing a test up there. But, so I was giving this seminar, and so I need to set up about 7:30 in the morning, get everything set up. Around 8, people start showing up. 9 o'clock, boom, I'm giving training all the way to 4 o'clock, and it wasn't enough. Fayetteville, Arkansas. It had been a couple of years since I'd been there before, and 3 brand new breweries had just opened up. Okay, now, I used to travel around the country quite a bit, and that was one of those hobbies, you go to breweries. So as soon as that thing closed, I ran over to one brewery, did a full tasting thing, because I got 2 more to go. You don't want to overload it, so you try. And so I started to talk to a few people, but it was trivia night. And so they were in teams, so nobody was talking to me. So I said, well, this is boring. So I went to another brewery, sitting there and trying some different things, and the brewer comes out and is talking to me. And in Fayetteville, Arkansas, I have this huge conversation about extreme skiing. But I'm watching the clock, right? And so I need to go to another one. I haven't eaten dinner yet. Time out. Is this making some of you nervous? Talking about drinking and so on. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But back in here, I say, well, now I need to go eat before I go to the final brewery. The final brewery closes at 10 o'clock, so at 9 o'clock I need to be there. So I go to this restaurant, sit down, start talking to this cool couple from, I don't even remember where they're from, but I have this great conversation, start talking to the bartender. Next thing I know, oh shoot, it's too long. Too much time has gone by and never got to the 3rd brewery. Okay, so the point is this. From, let's say, 8 in the morning, till 10 o'clock at night, I was constantly involved with people. Okay, so high motivated, average is 8. Now let's say there's somebody on my team who's low motivated. 8 hours is too much. Let's say what they really want is just 4 hours. Okay? Now what's going to happen is I'm going to see them as wrong. There's something wrong with that person. See, on the high side over here, so that I can have conversations, I can talk to people, I've learned certain skill sets. Okay? So learn how to talk, have a sense of humor, be gregarious, engage people in conversation, pay attention to what I wear. And by the way, I shower most days, okay? Especially if I'm going to be in front of people, because I found that when you smell good, people will talk to you. Okay? But come over here to the low motivated person, they want less time. So they're going to have certain skill sets that push people away. They're going to be angry, they're going to be short and not have a sense of humor. And by the way, we'll go out of their way to make sure they're not attractive so that you won't come to them. So what happens when we're on the high side here, we look at them as wrong, and guess what we do? Let's say I'm that person's supervisor. I say that person needs to go to training. Right? Because they need to get fixed. Right? So we move that person. Now they're going to spend 6 hours in a communication course learning exactly what they don't want. In fact, they're going to be sitting at tables like you are here, talking to people they don't want to do, and they're probably going to have to practice on each other. So they're getting more of what they don't want, and by the way, that's why the training won't work. Several years ago, before I was certified with Reese Motivational Profile, I was in Oregon. I was in Salem, Oregon. And the folks this was a management seminar, and the folks were talking to me about this person how they couldn't fire him because, as you might know, if you don't shower, that's federally protected. It's your right not to shower. So this guy stunk, but they needed him. And so what they did is they couldn't get rid of him, couldn't make it work, so they got a trailer and put it out in the parking lot just for him, small little trailer just for him. And at the time, I was abhorred by this. You know, talk about scapegoating, moving them out, you know, moving this guy out and separating him from the group. But for him, now I realize he was happy. This is the most fun he's ever had in his life. He has a trailer in the middle of the parking lot. People can't get to him. If he needs to use the restroom, he has to get out and walk all the way across the parking lot to get to the restroom. For him, it's great. He's having a good time. And so the point that I'm dramatizing here, it's not right or wrong, it's different. And it's different. So when it comes to designing programs, when we're talking about gamification, the second one, to draw your attention, obviously I'm going out of order here, but I just wanted to give you a good overview, is what we call expediency. If you're low expedient or even average expedient, okay, what we call honor, that means you like the rules, tradition is great. You probably have those people who are or very low expedient in your workplace, maybe in this part of the country especially, who we did it this way in 1972, right? There's no reason to change. And so, but let's say you're average or low expedient, so rules are good, and you like the rules and the structure, and here's the game, and then you get someone playing, if you will, someone interacting in your training who likes to break the rules, who wants to game the system, and you won't be aware of it, you'll be surprised by it. So it's another one where, as designers, curriculum designers, program designers, we need to understand who we are so we can anticipate. If you're low expedient, you need to anticipate that people will game the game. If you're high expedient, you need to realize most people want rules, structure, and so on. Okay, starting to see how this works? Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to Fayetteville, Arkansas. So one of the programs that we have at Sententia is called Disengage Grandma's Grammar. Okay, and so this is a good example for you of how we take something. Raise your hand if you loved English in school. Who loved English? Okay, 4 of you. Okay. Can you imagine that some of you probably even hated it? Right? So grammar is one of those things that people don't want to spend a lot of time getting training on. There's a lot of resistance to it. So how can we use gamification to make it interesting? So the program set up this way is, the idea is this, is grandma loves grammar. And so throughout the day, you work with grandma and you get grandma points because she makes cookies. Right? And so you get, as you go through the different learning processes, you interact and so on, you get cookies. Now, on the other side, things have changed since Grandma's day when it comes to business grammar. See, when Grandma was around, there were these things called typewriters. And I know you've never seen one of these before, but they used to be, that's used to how we used to type. And so back in the olden days, in Grandma's days, we put 2 spaces after the period because that's just how, the thing is. Well, now there's these things called computers, and so now there's a little space, and it's smart enough to know that after the period, there's a slight little, it's 2 points, so you really only put 1 space after. Okay, so this is something that's changed since Grandma's day. So when you do something that way, we get boss points. Okay, things that have changed, you get a boss point, and that's $1 an hour raise, a little over $2,000 a year. Okay, so that's a pretty cool deal. But the problem is you just hurt Grandma's feelings, so you'll lose 5 cookies. All right. So you, as a player, you would decide which you want, which is more important. And of course, you get 3,000, 6,000. Well, it'd be 4, 6,000 more a year. You can take grandma on a vacation and so on. You can make up for hurting your feelings. You got it? Okay, so that's the game. So back to Fayetteville, Arkansas. So usually what we do is, because we would have at least 4 teams competing against each other, and so the cookies are just little like poker chips, because it doesn't make sense to have real cookies. But in Fayetteville, it was going to be a small group. It was only 7 people, and so we had 2 groups competing against each other. And I said, well, why not use regular cookies? Because why not? So there's this company that's based near Fayetteville, Arkansas. I don't know if you've heard about it. Walmart. So went to Walmart and got some cookies. And so the idea was to give everybody a little package. They would open up the package and they'd stack up their cookies on napkins and so on. And then they'd lose cookies and all these things. Well, here's what I didn't anticipate was, I don't have it, I'm sorry. Okay, it's food, eating. Eating's one of those motivators. See at the bottom of the sheet? Okay. So I'm average on the eating side of something, but what I didn't realize is some of the folks in the room are high eating. Yeah. The idea of opening up these things, taking them out and setting them, touching them and setting them in the process that they might lose them, and all of a sudden they had resistance to the training. They didn't play along. Instead they kept the marks on the paper and so on, so they wouldn't play, because I hadn't anticipated that. These are gross cookies. Nothing against Walmart or something, but they're not. I didn't spend a lot of money on these cookies. and the winner gets nicer cookies. The team that wins actually gets nice cookies. So the point is that it was something I couldn't have anticipated, because for me it's no big deal to throw away ugly cookies. They're gross and you've been touching them and so on. Get rid of them. Let's get some good ones in here. Okay? So that's an example of when we're designing things, when we're designing for a team or a group or something, is to first of all understand where our blind spots are. Okay? Because I understand my profile, I can anticipate where I'm going to create stress. So in my case, low order, so chaos is fun, low tranquility, taking risk, adventure, and so on, high expediency, break the rules, and all these things. That will be, they'll create blind spots. That'll create blind spots for me. That's my allergies. For me, when I'm designing a program, so I can begin to anticipate. So that was the next slide. What we do if we know who the group is, and often we don't, obviously. What we can do is we run the tests, different profiles on the group, and then we can anticipate where there'll be issues and struggles. So this is from a training I did for the C-level for a nonprofit organization. And so when we look at these things, so they're all, like I said, C-level. I changed the names a little bit, but just so you wouldn't know what company they were. But we can start to anticipate. So yellow is average, if you remember. Green is high, red is low. Okay? So for instance, you go to the bottom, vengeance, that was those kill people, right? So as a nonprofit, you would believe, and this is what's odd about this group, is that they're low vengeance even at the C level. Okay, usually there's more competition and so on. Well, the guy that I gave sales was really membership. Membership, you can see that he is average. Okay? So that might be a little conflict there. Where he is high, there in curiosity, or where is it? Howard, oddly enough, C-level folks, and so on. So we can see where there might be a problem in expediency. So operations there is a little higher than them, and so on. So we can begin to anticipate where there's issues, where there might be some problems. Okay, so for a lot of these, then it becomes easy with physical exercise, but savings, average, and so on. So where we find we can build for and anticipate issues, problems, and struggles. So that's where we use the 16 motivators. Like I said, for us personally, it's important that we understand that we tend to design stuff that we like, that we enjoy, okay? And that often people won't be attracted to it like we are. Question?
Is this a multiple choice test? Is this
it's 128 questions, and then you rate it based if you agree, disagree. The 5-point agree, the usual